Welcome back, and we bring this special show from India Energy Week, third edition in Delhi, and joining us for a conversation now is Anish Dey. He's Global Head of Energy and Natural Resources at KPMG. Anish, hi. Difficult times, I must say, because we're looking at such huge volatility and so many things happening at the same time. 2025 did start on a tough note then. I want to start with tariffs, first of all, and retaliatory tariffs and inflation concerns and trade concerns as well. How is energy as a mix treating all of this?
So on energy, you are not going to see major tariffs and retaliatory tariffs as such.
Or direct impact for that
direct
matter.
impacts, because US is a net exporter of energy, which it wasn't like 15 years ago, but now it's a net exporter of energy. And I don't see countries putting tariffs on imports from the US. It's bad politics, bad optics, and honestly, it's going to raise your domestic inflation up. So I don't think, even if you take the case of India, we are, as Minister Modi mentioned today, we are importing substantial amount of energy from the US. I don't see a risk of tariffs directly coming in over there. But I do worry about tariffs more broadly because that has economic impact, uncertainty, the bond markets are on fire, you're seeing inflation concerns being heightened, and all of those are going to have impact on the industry and on certain countries, especially the developing world, given the hardening of the dollar.
What is your sense about the currency? Because that is what you mentioned, and we've seen dollar index very volatile. Look at the Indian rupee itself. I mean, being a major importer of crude and gas, the way the currencies have been moving, and not just these couple of pairs, but major global currencies. How do you see that moving on?
So, you know, Indian currency, if in a steady state, this was a good time for the Indian currency. In fact, there were predictions that even the rupee would harden. We're seeing the opposite because these are like times of uncertainty. So you're going to see it in currency, you're going to see it in gold prices. All of them are, hardening. So that's unfortunate for India because given our import basket being so large, it just makes it worse. And it's a cyclical effect which comes in and makes it worse. Just hoping that it corrects and or at least stalls in reasonable time. But it's just a response to the uncertainty which prevails across the world. The more the volatility, the stronger the dollar gets, even if it's because of the US, the stronger the dollar gets and everybody else gets affected.
Well, from talking about technology and data centers and AI and, of course, renewables, let's talk about the crude oil prices itself, because they have been very volatile. And who better to get a conversation on with Vandana Hari of Vanda Insights. Vandana, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And we've seen crude oil prices move all the way around. We've seen sanctions on Russia, conversation about sanctions on Iran as well. How are you looking at prices getting impacted by that?
Great talking to you, Manisha. Thank you for having me. Indeed, I think the oil markets have been whiplashed quite a bit in the first few weeks of the year. So the first big shock was, of course, the Jan 10th US sanctions against Russia. That was a bit unexpected, especially in the extent, aggressiveness of the sanctions and the extensive nature of the sanctions. Those have created quite a lot of problems for refiners in China and India. Those have reduced the discount for Russian crude, so which is not a happy thing for refiners, especially when refining margins have been considerably under pressure. Now, as far as the other turmoil that we have seen, most of it has been caused by the incoming US President Donald Trump. So we've seen that in the form of tariff threats against Canada and Mexico. And while that didn't go through, I think it's worth bearing in mind that it's only been suspended for 30 days. Right. Now, you might ask, sitting here in Asia, how does that impact us? So it does. I mean, it will ripple out if the US were to impose those tariffs against Canada and Mexico, because they are major crude suppliers to the US. Nearly 70% of US crude imports come from those two countries. If for whatever reason they are not able to compromise in the sense of who will bear the tariff burden, and especially Mexico, Canada not so much, but if Mexico looks to send its crude elsewhere instead of sending it to the US may need to pull crude from farther afield. Asian consumers might see more of Mexican crude coming into Asia. So basically, Lot of uncertainty, Manisha. It's very hard to say which way things will go.
Yeah.
So really my message for policy makers as well as stakeholders in the oil markets will be to remain nimble, to be prepared, to be very, very flexible, and not let sort of anything hit them between the eyes anymore, because that seems to be par for the course for this year.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on day one of India Energy Week, third edition here in Delhi. But before we put curtains down, here's this very interesting, innovative stuff that my colleague Abhimanyu Sharma got around within the exhibition areas. Let's watch that.
Ran out of cooking fuel at home or heading out camping for a few days? This AI-enabled vending machine for LPG cylinders may just come to your rescue. Jointly developed by Bharat Petroleum and Chennai-based LIFO Technologies, there's already one such LPG ATM functioning in Bengaluru, which can store up to 20 cylinders of 5 kg each at a time. It accepts only authorized and non-damaged cylinders and also enables refill of empty cylinders. Currently operated by distributors, the initiative is awaiting PESO's nod to further scale up capacity of such vending machines to make them more viable and visible across the country. The use of compressed natural gas or CNG is being encouraged across the world as a relatively cleaner fuel. Imagine producing energy out of mere transport of this fuel across the country. This is a model of free-spin inline turbo expander by the American company Sapphire Technologies, which is soon going to be used in India. This helps reduce gas pressure and capture the energy lost in pressure reduction at various stages of gas processing and distribution to allow for power generation. At full capacity, one such unit can generate up to 7 megawatts of clean energy per day and can possibly recover its cost in a period of 2.5 to 3 years from installation.